So we'll start back there.
Yep.
Oh, we found
The charging cable.
the charging cord. There it is.
And then maybe it'll cut and it'll be like glamour.
A couple of driving shots,
Yeah.
music.
Hey, Caleb Wojcik here, and I'm here with Jason Zook, and we're going to review the Tesla Model 3 that we're sitting in right now. Jason rented it from, what was the service called?
Turo.
Not-
T-U-R-O.
Not Ned. Not
Not
Ned.
Ned.
He
Not
paid his own money.
I did.
I paid zero money.
Yeah. It is actually a really good service, though. If you're ever looking to buy a car, renting it first is an amazing thing you can do now.
Still not Ned.
Still not Ned. Still
So
not.
we're in the Tesla Model 3. People are starting to get them. It's early 2018 as we talk about this. And why'd you rent this?
I put down a reservation March 2016, the day that it was, like the minute that it was available. Still don't have my actual ability to purchase, but people who've purchased Model S's or X's or Roadsters were able to get theirs early. And because we live in SoCal, they're coming from just up north, so people are getting them quickly. So I'm thinking about buying one. My reservation is coming up, but I'm trying to figure out, do I buy this or do I buy an S? And it's great to be able to actually rent it and like go through it just as you would do gear. You know,
Yeah.
You can rent gear and you can try gear. So this is kind of like a big piece of gear now.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go to a dealership. You can actually rent someone else's car who owns it, and they're not going to try and sell you on it. So yeah, it's been fun to have it for a couple days and then able to like kind of cruise around with you and talk about it, since you're also a tech junkie, like
Yeah.
well, way more of a tech junkie than I am.
And you've driven the Model S a bunch. I test drove the Model S just by saying, hey, Tesla.com, I want
Yeah.
to drive your car. And then I just went to the dealer.
Yeah.
Or not dealer, but their shop in San Diego.
Gallery.
Experience,
That's what it is.
something?
Gallery. Yeah.
And I also have ridden in a Model X a lot. My friend Pat Flynn has a Model X, so I've ridden in that a lot. So I'm a big Tesla fan. I like their cars. But I also drive a 14-year-old Toyota Camry. I went for the upgrades, clearly. Just falling.
There's kind of like a film of dust that comes with that.
Oh, yeah. They call it Seabreeze.
Yeah, 2004, that was a hot item.
I've been thinking about, okay, I've driven that car for 10
Yeah.
years now.
And it's still a good car. Like, we're looking at it.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
And on the exterior, it actually looks very similar to this car.
So let's talk about exterior first, if
Okay.
we're going to talk about things. I love the Model S. The Model S was actually designed by a very famous, well-known car designer, and you can tell, like, it's a really well-designed car. It doesn't look like any other car out there. That's the thing for me, the Model 3, especially why I wanted to rent it, is like, if I'm going to spend this much money on a car, because it's not $35,000. We'll get to that. But the Model S looks so much better. And even Caleb, when I picked him up for the first time, he was like, it kind of looks generic. And I was like, yeah.
It could be a Civic.
Yeah, it could
or
be
like
a Corolla. Like, it really could. And I think that is like, you know, Elon and the folks at Tesla are probably like, oh, don't say that. But they are creating a car that is for the general public. So it's not going to be as stylized, I would think, even though I think the front looks probably the best part of the car, in my opinion. So yeah, it has been interesting to have this car for a couple days, drive it, see it parked. I do think it looks a lot better in person than it does in photos. Like the photos that Tesla put out in the beginning made it look amazing. But that car was like, you know, probably a little bit lowered, you know, the professional photography.
Yeah.
Us on our iPhones and whatnot, it doesn't look as good. So yeah, I like the car. And I think if I didn't love the Model S, if I hadn't seen that before, I probably would be completely fine with this, but that's just my own personal taste.
So exterior, kind of plain. This is also a black one.
This one's black on black.
But I've seen red ones
Yep.
in Marquez's review. His red one looks a little nicer, a little sportier.
Yeah, it's all personal preference. I'm a darker colored car person. My current car, which is also paid off, just to mention, like I'm kind of in the same situation as you. Like I have a car that's been around for a couple of years, completely paid off. Like I don't want a car payment, but I also don't want to drive a gasoline powered car anymore. You know, I want to like invest in
From
Tesla.
a company that lies.
Yeah, let's not talk about the company. Definitely not Ned ever. But yeah, I think that's interesting. But yeah, if we're talking about the exterior, one of the coolest things though is the door handles.
Yeah.
And they're really interesting, and it kind of messes with your brain when you go to do it the first time. You're like, I don't know what to do with my
I
hand.
even asked you to do it for me, and you did it wrong.
I know. My wife, she just kind of looked at it. She was like, "I need to watch you do it," and then so she did. It's the same thing, and I think it's like once you do it a couple times, you get used to it. But it's kind of cool. Like I like that Tesla, for some reason or another, like the door handles have been on every model of their car
They're a little different.
Yeah, they're all a little unique. So. But otherwise, exterior, I think it's probably pretty similar. From all other cars on the road.
The camera's built in everywhere, and
And that's actually one thing that people talk about is that the backup camera on this one's not great. And it's like of all the things that you're gonna like go short on, it's the backup camera. But I guess if you really think about it, you don't use it that much. And that's also been another point of contention is the sunroof isn't a sunroof. It's just a big expansive piece of glass, which is cool. But if you care about opening the sunroof, we were talking about this the other day. I think I've opened my sunroof like twice in like the time that I've had the car. Like it's really not a big deal. So I think people will get used to that.
Yeah. So I think that exterior-wise, pretty minimal, not as like flashy. And when there's 400,000 of these on the road, it's just gonna look like a generic car.
Yeah.
So moving on to into the interior, what are your favorite parts of it?
I mean, you and I are very similar in the aesthetic that we like of things. So we're very minimal, very clean lines, not a lot of stuff. I will say it's a little bit, it's kind of like thinking about the door handles. Like it kind of hurts your brain when you look at the interior, like where's all the things?
Yeah.
Like where's the center dash? Where are the vents that are supposed to be everywhere? It's the one solid vent line that's really nice. Very cool technology, the way that it moves up and down. One highlight that we found was that you can really blow it heavily on your crotch if you want. I don't know why. It's just like, it seems like that's where a lot like of the vent can go.
Yeah, there's like 2 little dots that you can move around, so you can like,
or you can make it one dot, which
yeah.
we discovered like, why? What's the difference? Like you can't separate them.
You have vent singularity is what happens.
Okay. But yeah, I really like the clean lines. One thing that as we were driving around the other night, I noticed that usually a steering wheel is backlit by the gauges. So when you're driving, you can see the steering wheel really easily. You can't at night.
Just like you lose, you lose it.
It's weird. It's a weird thing you have to kind of get used to. But otherwise, they've done a really good job. Like the door panels are really nice and simple. There's not a lot of stuff. The push to open door button is fun. That's another thing you kind of have to get used to.
Yeah, every time I try to get out of the car, I'm looking for a handle, but it's just literally a button.
Yeah, and it works well. Like who knows? One thing we talk about a lot, as we've been kind of just being in the car and thinking about it, is like, there's just so much is electronic. Like, what if something goes wrong? And my argument is just
my
like,
question was like, what if the panel goes out?
Yeah, and my argument is just like, on a mechanical car, like, what happens if the mechanical car breaks? Like all normal cars. It's the same thing. Like you have to take it to get it fixed or whatever. I actually think electrical stuff is probably easier to update and fix and prevent issues than a mechanical thing, because once a mechanical thing breaks, it has to fully be replaced, and it impacts a bunch of other things down the line. Whereas this is like when that button breaks, you just got to fix the button. And there is a manual release there, unless you're in the back. There's no manual release on the door.
Oh,
There's
really?
a little manual thing. I'm teaching Caleb things.
Oh,
while we're
fancy.
sitting there. But yeah, otherwise, like they've done a good job in the center console. There's the charging area for your phones. There's actually a company, aftermarket, not an ad, that is making a wireless mat that you can put in there. So you actually don't even have to plug the phones in, which is kind of cool. There's a big, huge cubby here in the middle with apparently a green towel that we should have used for something. Cup holders, which is actually a really big thing. If like Tesla owners are watching this, the early Model S had nothing. And it was like a huge gripe. People were like, I just want cup holders. Like, how am I supposed to have a drink? Now you've got the 2 in the middle. You've got a cup holder pocket in the doors. So Tesla has been listening. And I think that's, I don't know, to me, that's one really cool thing about Tesla in general as an automaker is that they listen. Like they get feedback from people, they hear about things, and then they decide, hey, we're going to go ahead and make this change or make this upgrade on the next model or what have you.
So key.
Yeah, so I'm renting this car, and right now you can't share your app login. So if you're a Tesla owner, on your phone, you have the Tesla app. It has your car on it. You don't need this. This just exists as an accessory. You just walk up. You don't even take your phone out of your pocket. You walk up. It knows to be a Bluetooth or other weird technology that you're there, unlocks. You do the door handle thing. You sit in it. You just go. There's nothing to plug in or touch. But when you're renting it, you can't give away your app. So they give you this card, and the card has a little picture on the back that tells you where to put it on the pillar that's right here that'll lock the car and unlock it. And then when you get in the car, it asks you on the screen to put the card right by the cup holder. I'm just smashing it here. That will basically unlock the car so you can drive it. And then really you just keep it in your pocket. Which is kind of cool. I mean, it's a really nice high quality card.
Credit card size.
Yeah, and it fits in your pocket, fits in your wallet. Like, you don't even think about it. I hate keys. I don't know about you, but like, I have a key fob and that's it. I don't have a house key on it. I just can't deal with keys. So even if I just had to have this, I'd be okay with it. Like if my phone was dead or the app didn't
But
work.
if you, like, your wife would have the app also, so like owners can have the app, but just like sharing it for 3 days is...
For someone else, you know, it's just kind of weird to give like your app login, especially from the guy that I'm renting. He has 3 Teslas, so like I could see at any time like where his X is, where his S is. Would be kind of weird.
Yeah,
I'm sure that, again, like this is a software thing. They'll probably roll out, you know, if they know people are renting these, especially as it becomes more mass market. Hey, you can share the app. It has limited, you know, things that you can do, but then people don't have to give away the card and whatnot.
That's cool. What else? You want to talk about anything else while we're in the front seat?
I
mean, we'll talk through some of the dash stuff.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's interesting to me is the stalks on the steering wheel. So you have the left stalk, which is your typical blinkers, but it's not wiper blades. So it's wiper fluid, but then the wiper blades are on the dash, which is weird. And I don't know if it's good or bad. We talked about this when we first got in it. Caleb was looking, he was like, why are the wiper blades here? And then also, how do you make them work? Which is just weird. You have to
is
get
it
used
supposed to be automated then?
You can. It is rain sensing and it is intermediate setting and other things, but it's just not. It's so intuitive. We've all driven cars with it here forever, so it's just a change to think about. And then on the right side is your kind of your shifter, if you will. Up all the way is reverse, and it's actually kind of tricky the first time you do it because you just think, okay, up, and you tap it. It doesn't actually go into gear. You have to like go all the way up, which is interesting. Down goes into drive, and then down twice is autopilot, which we played around with a little bit driving around. And it's still scary. Like, it's absolutely still a scary thing to let the car drive, even though it screams at you, like, keep your hands by the wheel.
Yeah.
But if
when you're going 45 and there's just brake lights in front of you and you're hoping it's going to stop.
There was a bus for us, and it didn't start to slow down quite fast enough. I don't know if it was the distance, because you can set the distance and it slows down. But otherwise, I just think my compliments to Tesla on the interior design. I think it looks really great. Between the interior of the S and the X and the 3, I think they're all on par with each other. And I don't know, jury's still out for me on horizontal or vertical screen alignment. I think I like the horizontal screen better, mostly because when I'm in the vertical screen mode of the S or the X, I don't know what to do with half of it. Like, I don't need the full bottom half for radio stuff. I'm staring at it here. I like the way that this one's kind of set up a little bit better.
And it made sense that they wanted your peripheral to be this vertical thing on the left. Kind of like if you had an iPad and you split it and then dragged it, so it's just, you know, your car doors, your speed, your charging, and your wipers, basically.
Yeah.
The main things that are on
the center,
the regular dash normally.
And that's one thing too that we also thought about was like Mini Cooper has had like a center mounted speedometer for a long time. A couple of different Mazdas have had center mounted gauges and things. So it's not like Tesla's doing something that's never been done before. It's just they're doing it in a way that's like never been presented in this manner. So I've gotten used to it. Now having driven the car 3 days, probably about 200 miles. I know the speedometer's there. I know the little speed limit sign is there, the cruise control as I'm driving. I kind of quickly adjusted to that. So it's probably going to be weird getting back in my car model that we won't talk about that has the dash here in the center, and I'm going to be looking over to the right and I'm just going to be staring at nothing. So.
Yeah. So let's talk about the back seat, and then we'll talk about some storage, and then we'll jump into like using the display, because that's like the bulk of the experience of using the car. Is kind of like some of the steering wheel buttons and how you use the display.
Cool.
And we're in the back. So the front seats are all the way back.
Yep.
And
slightly reclined. Wow. Reclined? You want to leave it or you want to keep going?
Let's keep going.
All right, good.
All right,
I like
slightly reclined. And then
as you recline your seats, you will find at a 6 foot. You're 6'4"?
I'm 6'4".
So we're about the same size. We're pretty much the same human in a lot of respects.
Yeah. But all the way back, like if your teacher like slapped your wrist and told you to sit up, and then if I put my head back, I do hit the glass.
Yeah, I think a natural seated position in the back,
but I would probably sit like this.
Right, us not trying to hit our head on the back. There's as much headroom as we're going to have in almost any car, except for like a really big SUV. So for a compact sedan like this, there's plenty of room headwise.
And I've ridden in a Prius, and I sit like this.
Yeah.
Because it really slims. But, I mean, how often do you have 6'4" people in your back seat?
Yeah.
If that's a lot, maybe get a bigger car.
Yeah. I will say that I think Width-wise, this is the only time for me when I really can see that the car is not super wide for tall people in the back here. But again, like our knees aren't touching here.
No.
Mine is touching the side.
A person probably wouldn't fit here very well.
No, a person would not fit in the middle. If we wanted to share this armrest, we absolutely could. So I would say
I could ride comfortably back here.
it's not bad. You got some USB ports. We got our own fans, so we
I
can
would probably ask them to put the seat up a little bit.
If you could just, yeah, my feet are definitely smushed underneath, but all things considered, at 2 6'4" white males, we fit.
Approved.
All
right, so we came to Lego. No, we're not actually at Legoland. I just didn't want to show you.
We're actually at Dino Island.
I didn't want to show you where I lived. Anyway, we're near Legoland.
Yeah.
And we're taking a look at the, what do you call this? This the dash?
The center con? No, the
iPad Pro?
Infotainment? I don't know. This is just like the thing in the middle.
The screen.
The screen. Yeah.
Okay, so you know this better than me, but I'll do a little general thing, and then you can get into it more. So this left side, to me, is like what you have on a normal dash in a car. So it's a lot of your main
It's like about the
things.
car.
It's like opening doors and turning the charger hatch open.
Yeah, you got windshield wipers, your trip information.
Mileage,
Yeah. You know, like all kinds of stuff there. And the actual car itself, like if you have doors open or whatever.
Okay. And then it has your speed limit, your charge, that sort of thing. I'm guessing you can jump into some of these as well, though?
Yep, like the charge is here if you want to do that. One of my favorite features is actually the scheduled charging. So you can set it to off-peak hours. So as I've been plugging in at our place, because we have a 240 volt in the garage, I just have been setting this to 12 a.m. so that it only charges during off-peak times. So it won't.
So your power costs less.
So your power costs a ton less because from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. no one's using power. So it's a really cool feature. It'll pick up the charge current for you.
Okay.
And if you're at supercharging, that is one of the things about the Model 3 is that you do need to pay for supercharging. I haven't actually had to do that because I charge it in my garage on 240 volt. In 5 hours, it's completely fully charged, depending on where it was.
So you can open the port and then limit. What I've heard is you don't want to charge over 90 unless you're going.
Yeah, so because this car is brand new, I don't even think the limit's been set. But typically, yeah, you would set it a little bit early.
So like there is 90-ish.
Yeah, and then if you're going on a longer trip, then you would set it to let it charge all the way full, so you get the maximum range.
But if you have it set to full, it'll drain it. Like the life of the battery is worse.
Apparently, like anything else, like your phone, like batteries for cameras, and anything. If you're using the battery to its max capacity, you're kind of getting those cycles down with it. I don't think anyone's actually said definitively,
Yeah.
I had it at full charge and I noticed the decrease.
It's like a wife's tale.
Yeah, I think it's more a precautionary thing. Like,
Yeah.
hey guys, let's just all do it this way.
Some engineer in the comments gonna be like, "It's real.
It's a real thing. You got to do it, bro.
Lithium
I don't know
batteries."
why he's a bro though.
He
I don't know
could
why
be
he
a
called
woman.
me a bro.
He could be a-
Oh wow, that was really presumptuous of us.
It was.
Jeez.
Okay. What else?
So yeah, navigation, very similar navigation. I will say, as someone who has driven the Model S, the Model X, and the Model 3, this navigation is the best. It's really responsive. That's one thing people have mentioned is that the Model S, the Model X, it takes a long time to load things. This doesn't take a long time to load things. It goes very quickly. This shows you the chargers, so you can kind of see where the chargers are. So like if we go, you have like these regular chargers. This is one, it's at a Marriott. Let's say we go up north. I know there's a charger here in San Clemente. So this is a supercharger.
That's cool that it tells you how many spaces are open, too.
Yeah, and I don't know how crazy it gets, but yeah, so it's 16 of 21. Like very, very like cool stuff. And again, this is the stuff, because this is all software based, it all just updates in real time. Like this didn't exist before. It showed you where the superchargers were, but it didn't tell you how many stalls were available, what the max kilowatt it was putting out, what's around there. So it's all really good stuff. And then the navigation does a really good job of when you pick a destination, like let's say you and I wanted to take a little romantic trip to Ojai. If we did that, it would pick superchargers along the route that we would stop at that may not be right off the highway, but it doesn't slow you down too much and you're getting to a place where you can get a quick charge.
Yeah, and I saw that it told you, how much charge you would have when you got there, and
Yep.
then you could recharge. So it's like really smart about calculating mileage, which
And one of the things that it'll
I'm
do
not.
when you're driving, I'm not sure if it's in here with driving, but and again, like this is where like I'm not even like super up on where everything's are in the car. No, that's the limit there. There is something in here that I've seen where you can tell it how like close you want to get like how kind of daring you are in the lowness of the battery.
Oh, gotcha.
And I don't remember where that was, but I remember seeing it somewhere. It may have actually been like while I'm in navigation mode. But you can see like now I'm in here, and again, like this is just really quick. Like
Yeah.
I only point that out because it's not this fast, or it wasn't this fast in other things.
But it's almost zero delay. I mean,
It's pretty good. And I think it's also really been improved just visually. Like it's nice to look at. It's not kind of clunky looking. Like it feels almost Apple-esque in some of its design, like a lot of rounded stuff. But yeah, some of the things are you adjust the mirrors with the steering wheel. So you would use the buttons on the steering wheel to move the mirrors up and down, which is, I think, a great thing because you do this so like rarely. Why do you need a dedicated button or thing
joystick and yeah.
to do it? So steering wheel's the same thing. It's adjusted by these little knobs here. You can fold the mirrors in. You can lock the windows, the display brightness up and down, turn on the lights. You know, I'm not going to go over every feature, obviously, but you have all these different things that you can kind of mess with. One of my favorite things about Teslas is regenerative braking, and essentially this is when you're slowing down, the car is pulling that power back into the battery. It's not a ton, but you will notice it if you're going like on a long downhill. You'll actually gain range while you're going on a long downhill. So it's a really cool feature, and I wish like every car had it. And then you can kind of change it to what you want. And then creep is it's not you being a creep, it's the car.
It's like, are you creeping? Then you have to turn that on.
Legally. I'm not a creep. Yeah, but if you're on that list, you have to go in here. No, this it moves the car forward slowly as most automatic mechanical cars do. So it's just a different thing. And then steering mode, your choice of if you want the steering to be kind of loose or if you want it to be really
like
tight and responsive.
Buick to Ferrari.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a really good
I
way
used
to
to own
think
a
about
Buick,
it. Yeah.
1990 Buick,
Yeah.
and it drove like a boat.
Yeah. So yeah, you can go back to Buick mode if you want.
Nice.
And then autopilot, this kind of self-explanatory.
So how many cars away
Yep.
are you willing to
Yep.
risk
And then-
rear-ending somebody?
Yeah, how close? Like, I'm going Buick mode, like
Yeah.
I'm 7 cars away, or I'm going Ferrari mode,
Like
like I'm
truck nuts mode is one.
this is one. So yeah, and then auto steer, auto lane change, which is when you're in autopilot, you just hit the blinker, you don't touch the steering wheel, it'll move over for you without hitting another car. Parking brake stuff, and then your service things if you need to do any of that. But yeah, it's really good. The audio stuff is good. It's got, I think, TuneIn is what it's called, for kind of like the built-in radio podcast stuff. Your streaming things will typically pull in either what you have, or it has some of its own streaming services here that's kind of like just built in to this. You can listen to the radio if you want, which is wonderful. Or you go back to your phone and you listen to
Oh my gosh.
what you need to listen to at all times.
Copyright strike. There.
Yeah, no, we got like 6 seconds. It's fine. So you have all your equalization and all that stuff. You can pair a whole bunch of phones. Yeah, and then probably the last thing on the screen is
like heat and vents. And
is all this stuff. So, well, up here we didn't talk about this, but like backup camera, your charging information. If you want to speak directly to Elon at any time, hey Elon, can I have a pack of Model 3s, 12 of them for free? And it's confused. Like everything that's automated is confused and doesn't work. So
We're gonna get like a pack of smokes because you didn't finish. He's gonna send a pack of smokes.
thanks, Elon, I get the marble lights. But yeah, your air conditioning here. So this is what we were talking about with these
The singularity.
different buttons moving around, and if you got like this is the section of you that you really want cooled down.
You have some swass.
You can do that, and if you want to double your
So is that
fun,
is that backseat?
I think that's when someone sits on your lap, you can cool down.
So backseat.
That's
Round the
switching-
outside.
Yeah, that's around the outside.
So that's reuse the air.
This
Air
is-
AC
and if you're holding a box, this is the one you want to use.
Yeah.
Because it goes around. Yeah.
around the box.
We know how
We
this
got it.
works. Yeah, that's
But
fine.
how do you? Oh, you gotta split it, and then it's like.
But what's the point? Like, this is the one thing that, like,
But I would think it's 2, but it's really only 1 finger.
yeah. It's kind of weird. You'll get used to it, I'm sure, whatever you want to do.
How do you
But
make
it
it
does
one?
put out some pretty, like, it gets going.
3, 2, 1.
Ah!
That
I
sounds
say
like
this.
liftoff.
I say this. So yeah, you're what you called cooking bacon.
Yeah.
If you want,
want bacon delivery,
and
you
it
got
like
that.
already gets hot. So
Oh,
immediately
turn
turn
it
it off. So yeah, it's pretty intuitive, pretty easy to use.
Oh god. Turn it off.
as you click through it. But yeah, I mean, I think all things considered, it's a really smart setup. It's a really good setup. A lot of stuff that can change here very easily as they do over-the-air updates, and just like pretty intuitive. I didn't look at anything. I didn't watch any videos on how to use it. I just got in and just started clicking things and checking stuff out.
Anything else at the top? You have your signal. Is this return home garage?
This is your
related?
garage. Yep. So you can set your, I think Home Link is the official name, not an ad, to set your garage.
Louisiana Purchase.
Apparently that's their garage name. Bluetooth. So this, I haven't played with any of this, so I don't know if there's, yes. So this is where you start to get into the push the drive stalk down 4 times when
Oh, so this is how you get Rainbow Road.
when you got to have more cowbell.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we haven't done Rainbow Road yet.
Tesla button.
Yep.
Oh, you can name the vehicle Mars.
So if you want to be on Mars,
Whoa. That's
what
cool.
like what's on Mars here? We have actual like charging places, like places you can charge.
Oh, there's a little rover guy.
That's us. That's got to be us, since it's close as you can go. Like, this is just the fun.
What?
We are long range. This is if you want to draw stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everyone says hi.
Yeah. you
That's
draw.
really bad. Publish.
Yeah.
Not really.
I
for
love
the
that,
world.
like, yeah, even that wasn't, like, well
This
formatted.
is like a pop-up on a bad website.
Yeah, it really is. Like, no, I'm not creative. I actually hate puppies. Like,
I want to
yes,
be poor for the rest of my life.
Yes, I want your stupid PDF. Like, those are the options that you get.
Good pop-up. Good
Yeah.
exit intent.
So yeah, those are the fun things that you can do. I'm sure there are actually other little Easter eggs in here too that I mean I haven't found or watched any videos about, but that is kind of a fun thing that Tesla does. Is makes it interesting. Here's the reroute if it saves more minutes. That's right. So this is the navigation thing that we saw. So you can kind of choose like how dangerous do I want to live.
Yeah. Reroute. So cool.
Yeah.
The wipers.
Yeah. Here's your trip, your odometer. This is just another thing of this, I guess, if you don't have this being shown. Yeah.
Oh, that's another quick way to get to the charging.
And then this little bar when you're driving, this is one thing people have complained about, because on the S and the X, there's like a much bigger version of this that shows your usage as you're driving, kind of
Whether
kilowatt-wise.
using battery or saving it.
Yeah, so it's like a little green line if you're saving, and then like a black line if you're using. I don't know. I mean, it's different. For me personally, I don't really care. Like, it's kind of cool to see, but it doesn't really. I'm driving. I have to go somewhere. So.
Yeah. Does this lock the car? Whoa.
That's how I
Mirrors
could.
came in.
That's how I could have let you in the other day when I couldn't figure out, and I reached over to grab the
Oh,
button.
push the button.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk price. So, how much is the base model? How much is the one we're sitting in? And what are the things that like bump it up to?
Yeah, neither of us have ordered ours. We've only watched people order theirs. 35,000 is the base price. That comes with some very strong air quotes.
Is that on top of the 1,000 you already paid?
The 1,000 you already
goes
played
towards
goes
it?
toward that.
Okay.
Yep. You as you ordered, if you watch ordering videos on YouTube, you'll find that people do actually they walk through every step, which is kind of cool to see. I believe this exact model was 57,000, not including taxes, tag, title, and whatnot. So that included the upgraded interior, which I believe is the vegan leather, nicer, kind of just like trim and whatnot.
yeah.
The high fidelity sound system, the nicer wheels because the 18-inch wheels look like crap. Sorry, just being honest.
Autopilot,
Autopilot,
which is 5,000, I think.
and there's
to enable
two.
it.
There's two.
Oh.
So it's like the autopilot package is all the sensors, and then the other one is like the advanced when it's going to be like full autonomous driving.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of buy the autopilot package and then the autonomous driving
So
package.
can you buy this car without cameras in it?
Yeah. And I don't think reverse camera doesn't come with it. I think it's just the sensors
All
for
the autopilot
Yeah.
sensors?
Which I think everyone's just kind of doing, which is why the majority of people you see ordering them are not getting a $35,000 car. They're getting a $50-some-odd-thousand car. So that's kind of what to expect. And in that range, you're going to be looking at like an Audi, the 4 series of the Audi, A4, S4, maybe the 5 or 6 series of the Audi as well, depending on how you trim it out. The BMW 3 Series, lower end 5 Series. I'm a car guy, so I love
Yeah, I
that
know.
stuff. Yeah. You probably
Don't even get me started on Xfinity's naming. It's like the Q47.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably could trim out a Toyota Camry if you wanted up to 50,000, although you
Like
really
a souped up Too Fast, Too Furious Tokyo Drift version.
you actually get Lil Bow Wow to like deliver the car to you.
Nice.
Shout out to all the Tokyo Drift fans. Yeah, so let's just be honest about the price. You're not gonna probably not walk out of, but order online for 35,000. So that's just what you should expect. And I think honestly, if you're just asking for my kind of final thought on price, it's worth it for what you get, for the comfort, for the driving experience, for the tech that's involved. To me, it's a $60,000 car, and I've owned some cars that are more than that. I've owned cars that are less than that feel like they actually are more than they're worth, but this car feels pretty appropriately priced there.
So, will you get this?
Yeah, so
Because you have to decide soon. Your estimated time is
the next month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me personally, and you being the same size as me, I could just use a little bit more room. And as I said
like
kind of earlier on,
width-wise.
width-wise a little bit more room, and then also just back seat a little
Yeah.
bit more room.
I do like you're kind of reclined. Like your legs are straight out.
Yeah, you mentioned this the other day when we were driving. You're like, my legs are like completely straight. Like
Yeah, they're not bent like in a chair. I'm like at the dentist.
because yeah, there's no engine, so the firewall is a lot further back, which gives you a lot more room in the
Which
front.
I think is really comfortable.
Yeah, it is nice, and the Model S is even more. Like my wife, she's sat and she's like, I can lay down completely, and they have a mode in the Model S called camper mode because people do. They like put the front seats forward, they lay the back seats down, and I think for me, if I'm deciding right now, I'm going to pick a Model S, the P85D, because a used P85D is around 70 to 80,000 depending on how many miles there are. If you're buying a $60,000 car, if you're financing it because you can get a good interest rate on a loan, you're probably going to end up spending $50 to $100 more on your loan price. For me, that's going to put me in a Model S because I like the exterior styling, I like the air suspension, and I just like the look and the kind of size of that car a little bit more.
And if you have like a small basketball team of like
Yeah.
10-year-olds, you could have 5
Well,
seats in the back.
Either that or get a Chevy Aveo. You remember those commercials? That was like their big selling point. Yeah, we fit, but it's not like you're comfortable. I think in the Model S you're definitely more comfortable. And the X is not really an option for me just because I don't want a big SUV. I kind of want a sleek car. So yeah, I think if I'm choosing right now, I'll choose a used Model S P85D. And I'll be fine with that because a used Tesla is way different than buying a used mechanical car. But the Model 3 I think is a really good car, and you can see that in any other video reviews of people who own them. And even the person I rented this from, he's like, I love this car. And I can
Yeah.
totally see why.
And I might, at half the price of a Model S, you could get it without the extra wheels and maybe not upgrade
Yeah.
the sound system. And
And if that stuff doesn't matter to you, like
if you don't care about autopilot, there's another few thousand you could save. So
yeah, and again, if we're being honest, like a $35,000 loan versus a $50,000, it's not a huge difference. I mean, that's why a lot of people get cars upgraded from what they thought they were going to buy when they go to a dealership because you find out it's just a little bit more. But yeah, you're right. You could reduce the features down, get a very affordable version, and probably be very happy for many years.
because then you're comparing it to like a fully electric Toyota or something like
Yeah,
that.
the
maybe.
Nissan Leaf is like $36,000, like all things included, and it's a Nissan Leaf, and it's terrible. So definitely not. I mean, that car just looks awful. Like, let's be honest, these big manufacturers are not designing sexy cars like the Prius. Like, it's not a sexy car by any means. So if you have the choice and you care about the aesthetic of the car, this car has now become an affordable option for, I think, the masses. You just have to wait when you order it. It might take a while to get it.
like a year or two.
Probably a year by now, I'm
From
thinking.
now,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts?
Just fantastic job. I think overall, like, it's easy to be nitpicky. It's easy to say like, oh, this and that and whatever. Like, final word is this is an amazing car. This is a really cool car. It's fully electric. This car gets 300 plus miles of range. I've driven a Model S many times. I've gone on road trips with it. Drove this car around yesterday about 150 miles just throughout the day. And never once did I even worry about range. I laugh as I drive by gas stations.
Not mechanically, maniacally.
Maniacally and mechanically while I'm reclining. all the little jokes about that. But yeah, I think it's a really fantastic car. Really happy to support Tesla in some way by purchasing either this or the Model S. For us, for our family, like that feels like a good next step. Maybe I've convinced Caleb as well, so you might see him with a whole playlist of Model 3
I almost
reviews.
put the 1,000 down originally, but
There's still time.
I'm kind of waiting until the Camry gives up. It's almost at 300,000.
Yeah, and you are a 2-car family right now, so it could give up and you wouldn't be stranded. So you could
Yeah.
then, kind of be like, all right, now do we want to buy it? But, if you put the money down, it is a reservation you can cancel. So that's also good to know. It's not like they keep your money. Again, Tesla, just like they're changing the car game. It's a whole different experience. And that's why I really like it. That's why I was kind of happy to rent one, see how it was, and even to have put down a deposit early on.
Yeah, and as there are more of them, if you're looking to buy one, rent one, they'll have them at the
Yeah.
experience shops, wherever
the glossary gallery experience.
the library
Yeah.
of Tesla.
And not an ad, but Turo, TURO.com. Just a reminder, like that, it's just a great place to be able to rent. It's like Airbnb for cars. And one other thing, kind of last thing, is just the car is like fully software. Like everything in the car is based on software. So when something goes wrong or needs updating, that gets done over the air. Like that gets done while your car's asleep in the garage. And it's just a really cool thing that you don't even have to think about, that if something, wasn't working right or was glitchy or like maps are having issues,
You don't have to
they'll
take
fix
it in,
Yeah.
get a rental.
They'll just fix it, over Wi-Fi, which is just insane. So really cool thing to kind of like know the car is going to evolve with you as they kind of figure out new features.
Well, I want one. I wanted one before, but I want one more now.
All right. Well, I'm glad I've convinced you. Please use my Tesla code. I don't have a Tesla code. I do love watching all the videos, and like every single one ends with like, use my Tesla code.
Because it's 2% off a Roadster or something?
It's now, I think now the only thing is you get free supercharging if you use someone's code, and then like they get points towards something else. I don't know. I just
Did
think
they
it's
get
funny.
rid of the 2% towards Roadster?
I think so. Oh, maybe. I don't know. I don't pay attention. Anytime someone starts saying use my code, I'm like, no, into the next video. So sorry, guys.
So use my code
Yeah.
that I don't have because I don't own one.
Link in the description. I know how YouTube works. It'll be down there.
Well, thanks for watching. And Tesla.
Yeah.
What's the next one? The Y?
supposedly?
The truck?
We'll get
Can
a
we review the
Roadster.
truck?
You and I are gonna get a Roadster together, and we're just gonna
Okay.
we're gonna just do
You
that.
get a Roadster, I'll get a Semi, and we'll race.
It'll probably be a close. Well, no, it probably won't be a close race because the Roadster is ridiculously fast.
No,
but
you have to pull
the truck.
the load.
I'll pull a truck. You drive the truck. It'll
Yes.
be- yeah. All right. Look for that video coming soon.
Yeah, 2021. Those are sharp.
Yeah, there's metal. You're gonna want to.
Dig under. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're in the trunk.
Yeah. Just curious that why did you want to see it back here again?
It's just wanted to see.
If you wanted to go on a picnic with your friend, your lover, your frenemy, whoever.
if you're like watching a drive-in or something. But these
Why'd
are
you
sharp.
Why'd you back in?
These are sharp.
Yeah. They didn't think. No one got in the back, and then they thought about this.
How fast have you driven this car?
I actually.
You haven't taken it on the 5?
I have.
Okay.
We yesterday.
The
we-
405 to the 16.
I went actually. Here's exactly what I did yesterday. No joke. I went to the 5, to the 805, to the 163, and that was it. Unfortunately, it was only 3. But that's 3 highways. It's a lot of highways to drive on here in California. Yeah, maybe some pastries and things. How fast have I gone? I don't even think I've gotten to 100, which is kind of sad. Like I'm not a hot rod, but I do drive quickly. It's just like that speed. I mean,
Have you raced anybody off a stoplight?
no.
We should probably do that.
We should do that. We should, like, especially like an old 80, try and rev the engine, which you can't do.
We'll have an engine sound on our phone that we'll rev.
We'll just yell at the car.
So how's the trunk?
Spacious. I know a lot of people have talked about the maybe being upset that it's not the hatchback style. But I mean, truthfully, like if you're gonna lay down
There's
in
a
here,
trunk window.
yes, yeah, they like doing that. There's a cobweb on there or something. What do you got there? Gum? What do you? Okay,
It's glue.
that's sticky. Something sticky.
It's glue.
Yeah, we could use a little bit of like covering up of the metal parts would probably be a good thing. But I mean, truthfully, like we're 2 tall guys that fit in here.
It's deep. It's not really wide.
It's definitely not wide. We're not touching though. If I'm being honest, like it's not that bad.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
I could sleep back here. Like if you're camping and you put the front seats up,
Yeah.
you could almost lay back here.
I think you probably could. I mean, again, we're super tall, so.
Wait, there's this. All right, there's one more thing back here.
Oh, we found
The charging
found
cable.
the charging cord. There it is.
There you go. So now you know.
By the way, if you're comparing 2004 Camry to Model 3,
It's a toss-up.
close. It's a close race. Also, I'm getting not a new car smell.
Aged. It's aged.
Aged Toyota.
Oak barrel aged.
Getting like a windmill on the nose, like an old dusty windmill.
Yeah, like a shoe, but not your shoe.
no,
Like a stranger shoe.
like a older lady's shoe.
Yeah.
She's had some miles.
Are you
on
done
her.
in this car? Let's go back in the other one.
Sweaty too.
Yeah.